We're here because free speech is under attack. We're here because people are being convinced that socialism works. We're here because people are being judged guilty until proven innocent. We are fighting back with facts. This is not a safe zone, so buckle up, Buttercup. This is the raw, naked truth.
Russia tries to influence U.S. elections. Biden's job numbers were overstated. Ukraine troops seize momentum, and more. Welcome to the Raw Naked Truth. I'm your host, Eric Lopkin, and here's the news you need to know. Russian trolls are ramping up their efforts again on social media ahead of another U.S. presidential election, and they seem desperate for influencers to notice them. Amid elevated fears of foreign election meddling, accounts run by Russian operatives showed a shift towards relying more on low-quality, high-volume spam tactics that experts and officials say could escalate on social media platforms in the coming months. Since 2022, a Russian network of fake personas on social media platforms have sought to interact with political and media figures, pushing divisive content and narratives that sought to weaken international support for Ukraine. The intention was to piggyback on the visibility and wide reach of the replies section of accounts with large followings to seed messages with both influencers and their audiences, according to social media researchers. President Biden in March reportedly approved in secret a change to the highly classified U.S. nuclear posture in the wake of growing aggression from nations like Russia and China, but the White House on Tuesday said this step was just business as usual. In response to a report by the New York Times that suggested Washington's nuclear posture had been altered to address Beijing's expanding nuclear arsenal, a White House spokesperson told reporters the guidance issued earlier this year is not a response to any single entity, country, nor threat. This administration, like the four administrations before it, issued a nuclear posture review and nuclear weapons employment planning guidance, White House spokesperson Sean Savitz said. While the specific text of the guidance is classified, its existence is in no way secret, he added. Ukrainian troops said they are moving to encircle an estimated 3,000 Russian troops that are hemmed against a river in Russia's Kursk province, seeking a fresh blow against Moscow in the third week of a surprise incursion. Ukraine's military said it used U.S.-supplied HIMARS rocket systems and explosive drones to strike pontoon crossings and bridging equipment as Russia scrambled to prevent the encirclement of its forces between the same river and the Ukrainian border. Ukraine's August 6th incursion has embarrassed Russian President Vladimir Putin by seizing dozens of towns and villages across a territory as large as any Russia has captured in a year of offensives in Ukraine. Kiev's forces are now expanding their control along the border and striking Russian supply routes as Moscow is ramping up counterattacks using massive glide bombs and troops rushed in from Ukraine and other parts of Russia. Vice President Kamala Harris's campaign has stirred up a hornet's nest with the selection of a liaison for the American Jewish community who has been criticized for holding views that undermine Israel's security and for being soft on Iran, according to some prominent American Jews and Israelis. Harris appointed Jerusalem-born Ilian Goldenberg, who had renounced his Israeli citizenship to work for former President Obama's first administration, sparking intense criticism from sectors of the American Jewish community and among Israeli Americans. In 2021, Goldenberg worked for the Biden administration's Department of Defense. In 2023, he became Harris's Middle East advisor. The 46-year-old Goldenberg, who was raised in New Jersey, is seen as a lightning rod selection, according to his critics, because he has pushed policies that hurt Israel. Highlighting the failure of Bidenomics, the Bureau of Labor Statistics announced that the U.S. added 818,000 fewer jobs than previously reported from the spring of 2023 to the spring of 2024, indicating the labor market began to cool off earlier and faster than it appeared at the time. The government's revised estimate of employment growth showed the economy gained about 2.1 million jobs from April 2023 to March 2024. Originally, the increased employment during that span was put at 2.9 million. The updated employment figures mean the economy created an average of 173,000 jobs a month during this period, instead of 242,000 under the old estimates. The 28% downward revision is the largest adjustment issued since 2009. Professional and business service jobs accounted for about half of the discrepancy. Employment for the year through March 2024 rose only 1.3% instead of the previously estimated 1.9%. In a July survey of American workers, 4.4% of workers said they expect to lose their jobs in the next 4 months, the highest rate ever recorded. These numbers put more pressure on the Fed to lower interest rates at their September meeting. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is planning to drop out of the presidential race in an address on Friday, sources familiar with the decision said. Sources confirmed that Kennedy plans to endorse Donald Trump. Sources did, however, caution that the decision is not yet finalized and could still change, with one source adding that Kennedy's hope is in part to finalize things quickly in order to try to blunt momentum from the Democratic National Convention. One possible scenario being discussed is for Kennedy to appear on stage with Trump at an event in Phoenix on Friday, though the sources cautioned that Kennedy's thinking could always change, and sources close to Trump say no plan for Friday is finalized. That's the Raw Naked Truth. You can catch every episode of the Raw Naked Truth at xvadio.com, the Apple Podcasts app, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, Amazon Music, and other platforms that respect freedom of speech. We'll see you next time.